Hi everyone, I'm going to show you through a couple of the links that I've given you about putting together your resources list. So you'll find that there are different formats for making citation lists. They have different names. Everything from the title page all the way through is unique in these different styles. And the ones you have probably heard of as high school students are MLA and then APA. And APA is the one that we use in the social sciences and humanities. Now, the thing that I have learned recently about these style guides, and I guess I should have remembered this from my university days, but they change. They change often. Why? I don't know, but they do. So just be aware that what you're doing this year may vary class to class depending on how current your teachers are, and it may switch again by next year. So this is a website called The Owl at Purdue, and Purdue is a university, I believe, in the United States, and they seem to be sort of the gurus of citations. We're going to focus today on making a reference list, and you'll see here that you've got some basic rules, and then you've got different types of resources that you might have used to write your papers, and it tells you how to cite them. Now, I know the temptation is always to do your reference list or bibliography or works cited list as the last thing that you do. But the problem with that is that you need to make your works cited first so that you know what to do for your embedded citations. So, and I'll explain to you what I mean by that. If you're going to, so we know that I'm not going to bore you by going through all these kinds of things that you don't have. So let's focus on our electronic sources. And you'll see that there are a whole different bunch of kinds of possible online resources that you might have. So let's imagine something like a newspaper article. So if you have the author goes first, and then you would put in the year, the month, and the day. Then you have the name of the article that you read, the title of the article. Then you have the name of the publication. So you notice it's the name of the publication that is italicized. That's what it means when it's all written on an angle. Also notice that this is not written with a whole bunch of capitals. The word handbook, linked, drug are not capitalized. You write this as if it was just a sentence. But then when you write the name of the source, so the New York Times, you do it however the New York Times wants it done. So if they were the NY Times, you would not expand it to New York. If they had the New and York Times and they had that ampersand and symbol thing in there, then you would leave that. So you don't correct them because they are a brand. So you leave them alone. So this applies to newspapers, magazines, and then you put retrieved and then the URL. It used to be that you put your retrieval date and you had to keep track of that too, but that's gone now apparently. Now, the trick for you guys is that the OWL doesn't really allow for a whole lot of citing where you don't have a author. So this presents us with a bit of a problem because some of the stuff you're going to find will not have an author. There's less and less authors given, especially online, but that doesn't mean the information isn't good. So I think you have a couple of options here. One is you can start with so if it's in an online encyclopedia, then what you do is you start with the topic and you put where you found it in. You use the word in, and then you notice the word in is not italicized, but this is the name of the publication, Encyclopedia Britannica Online, and then you put where you got it, the URL there. And they didn't have a date, so that's why they put ND is no date. So you may happen upon something like that. However, you might also end up in a situation where you've got something like a newspaper article, but you don't have an author. What I suggest is that you take this, the New York Times, and make that your author. So you would write the New York Times here. That means that when you go to do your embedded citations, instead of putting the author Parker Pope, you're going to put the New York Times at the top. Whereas if you found something here like this, where it's something like Britannica Online and you're using the topic, then you would put Britannica, no date. Okay, so you can leave this as the topic for this one, but you're going to write the source. Where did it come from in your brackets in your embedded citation? That's really, really important. All right, the other resource I've given you is UBC. And if you click here, citation style guides, that's what the little, I used to buy them hard copy at when I was in university a million years ago. I don't know if they still publish these as books anymore. Perhaps they do. But anyway, in any event, that's what they're called. They're called style guides. So this one is a little bit different. They go through a few different topics here. So I think I just clicked on APA Getting Started. And what I liked about this is that when you go down here, it tells you how to do the in-text ones for the sample, which is kind of nice. So they're helping you out there. And they also give you some sort of helpful hints. So I would use the two of these together, okay? But the bottom line is that your embedded citations have to link up with your references list. So they need to be the same. So if it says Burke 2005 in your embedded citations, then you have to put Burke 2005 down here. The other thing is that when you use something like BibMe, or I think there are some ways that you can automatically create a a references list, a reference list through Google. Particularly something like BibMe. When you find something and then you ask BibMe to put it into your reference list based on the URL, BibMe doesn't always put things in the right spot. So it is your job to go back and look with your eyes and proofread and compare it to all of these examples, compare it to the sample that you have at the end of the example paper that I've provided you with, and fix it. Now, if you'd rather use exclusively references from your school library, or the e-learning website has a whole library section where you're going to be in databases. If you use any of the Gage databases, so if they have the word Gage, G-A-G-E, in the URL, then Google is sort of affiliated or connected with Gage. And so when you build your reference list through there, it will do it. It seems to be doing it perfectly because it's linked up, and when they put the stuff in the database, they've put everything in the right spot. So if you use the databases, that's fine, and it will help you with this. Okay, so that's another idea you can follow. All right, good luck.